I've spent nearly 2 decades observing what makes people liker than others and trying to help people increase their luck. You see, I teach entrepreneurship, and we all know that most ventures fail, and innovators and entrepreneurs need all luck they can. So, what is luck? Luck is defined as success or failure, apparently caused by chance. Apparently, that's a operative word. It's luck, lots it's a change, likes it a chance, because we rarely see all the levers that come into play to make people lucky. But I've realized by watching so long that luck is really a lightning strike, isolated and dramatic. It's much more like the wind blowing constantly. Sometimes it's calm, and sometimes it blows in guts, and sometimes it comes from direction that you didn't even imagine. So how do you catch the wind of luck? The winds of luck. It's easy, but but it's not obvious. Some some. So I am going to share 3 things that you can do to build, to sell, to capture winds of luck. The first thing you want to do is to change your relationship with yourself. Be willing to take small risks that get out. Now we're now when we're children, we do this all the time. We have to do this if we're going to learn how to talk, ride a bike, or even quantum machines, right? We need to go from someone one week who doesn't, next week someone who does, and this requires us to get our and take some risks. The problem is as we get older, we rarely do this. We sort of lock down and don't stretch anymore. Now with my students, I spend a lot of time giving them encouragement to get out of their comfort zone. How do I do this? Well, start out by having them fill out of a risk ometer. Now it's basically a fun thing we developed in our class, where then map out what risks, and it's become clear very quickly to them that risk taking is not binary. There are in intellectual risks and physical risks and financial risks and emotional risks and social risks and ethical risks and political risks. And once they do this, they compare their risks profiles, and they quickly realize that really they're all real, and then encourage them to stretch, to take some risks that get them out of their comfort zone. For example, I might ask them to the intellectual risks and try to track a problem they're having. I tired. Or social risk, talking to someone sitting next to them, or an emotional risk, maybe telling someone they really care about how they feel. I do this myself all the time. About a dozen years ago, I was on Embraer, early morning flight, on my way to Edinburgh, and normally I would just put my headphones and go to sleep, wake up, but I decided to take a little risk, and I started conversations with the man sitting next to me. I introduced myself and I learned that he was a publisher. Interesting. We ended up having a fantastic conversation. I learned all about the future of publishing industry. So about three-quarters of I decided to take another risk. Um, and I opened up my laptop. I shared with him a book proposal I put together for something I was doing in my class, and he was very polite. He read it and he said, "You know what, Tina? This is this isn't right for us. But thank you for so much for sharing. It's okay. That risk didn't work out. I shut my laptop, and the end of the flight, we exchanged contact information. A couple of months later, I reached out to him. I said, Mark, would you like to co- would you like to come to my class? I'm doing a project of reinventing the book, the future of publisher. And he said, great. I'd love to come. So he came to my class. We had great. A few months later, I wrote to him again. This time I sent him a bunch of video clips from another project my student had done. He was so intrigued but one of my projects the student had done. He thought there might be book in it, and he wanted to meet those students. Now I have to tell you, I was a little bit hard. Um, I mean, he wanted to do a book with my students and not with me. But okay, it's alright. So I invited him to come down, and he and his colleagues came to Stanford and met with the students. Afterwards, we had lunch together, and one of these editors said to me, "Hey, have you ever considered writing a book?" I said, "Funny you should ask." And I pulled out the exact same proposal that I showed a year earlier. Within 2 weeks, I had a contract, and within 2 years, the book had sold over a million copies around the world. Now, you might say, I'm so lucky, but that luck result from my serious small risks books, starting with saying hello, and anyone can do this, no matter where you are in your life, no matter where you are in world, even even if you think you're the most unlucky person, You can do this by taking little risk that get you out of your comfort zone. You start building a cell to caption. The second thing you want to do is to change your relationship with other people. You need to understand that everyone who help you on your journey is playing a huge role in getting you to your goal. And if you don't show appreciation, not only are you closing the loop, but you're missing an opportunity. I want someone does something, they're taking time and spending on themselves, and you need acknowledge what they were doing. Now, I run three fellowship programs at Stanford, and they're very competitive to info. I send out letters to those students, and I always know there are going to be people, some some of people who are disappointed send me a notes complaining. Some of them send notes saying what could I do to make myself more successful. And every once in a while, someone send me a note thanking me for the opportunity. This happened about 7 years ago, and young man named Prin sent me, I know I have been rejected from this program twice, but I want to thank you for the opportunity. I learned so much through the process of applying. I was so taken by the graciousness of this message that I invited him to come and meet me, and we spent some some time chatting and cooked up of idea for an independent student. He was on a football team at Stanford, and he decided to do a project on looking at leadership in context. We got to know each other incredibly well through, and he took a project that he started working in independent study, and